So definitely you can see that I'm a certified nerd and a big believer in the AR and VR space. Now, I'm going to throw out these terms a lot: virtual reality, augmented reality, AR, VR. So let's define them together. I want us to kind of level set what these terms mean. So virtual reality or VR is when everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed by a 3D environment, that everything around you is basically this CGI or computer-generated image that is being projected into your eyes through some optical see-through or some kind of, oh wait, before saying that my voice is unclear, let's see if we can change the mic setting. Give me 1 sec. Let's see if that's the case. Can you hear me now better? That might be better. Perfect. So let's redefine these kind of things. So virtual reality is when everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed in a 3D environment, and what you're seeing is being projected into your eyes through a headset that basically controls everything you can see and sometimes what you can hear, and you're using it to kind of control the environment. As opposed to augmented reality or AR, in which you still see the real world, but that world is being overlaid with digital content, with CGI construct, and you're looking at the world through some optical see-through like glasses or some kind of headset, or a camera see-through like some kind of tablet or a phone. A really cool way to understand this is the amazing movie Space Jam that you all should see with Michael Jordan, in which we have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. That's an example of virtual reality. Everything around him is a cartoon. He's fully immersed in this 3D kind of cartoonish environment, as opposed to what we have later in the movie is that we have the Looney Tunes coming to us, playing basketball with Bill Murray and Michael Jordan, and that's basically a differentiation between AR and VR. Either we are teleported into Looney Town, or Looney Town is coming to us. Now, something that you probably all know from real-world examples is something like Pokemon Go. People are running around, interacting with digital monsters that are not really there in augmented reality. Or in VR, we have Beat Saber. It's a cool game that people slash those with cubes based on the rhythm of the music, kind of fully immersed in this 3D environment. But before we start, I want to kind of travel in time and see the history of augmented reality together. It all started in 1838 when we basically had the stereoscope, the first kind of visor that used this technique that is still used today, of basically projecting two different images to your eyes to kind of simulate that sense of depth. So basically, you would have two different images projected into your eyes, creating this sense of 3D. The same kind of concept was used 100 years later with the Viewmaster, which probably some of you know, again, using the same trick to kind of create this sense of depth and kind of teleport you into a different reality. Years later, we have NASA kind of trying to use VR headsets and even haptics to kind of simulate scientific experiments. 1987 is the first time the term virtual reality is coined, and 3 years after, augmented reality is coined. So think about it, that's not so long ago that we still even had these terms available to us. In 95, we had Nintendo trying to kind of bring VR into gaming with a Virtual Boy that was pretty much a failure, but a kind of good milestone in the gaming industry. Mobile AR was born only in 2005. So this was the concept that basically used image targets and a Nokia phone to kind of play tennis, two players playing tennis over a mobile phone. Unbelievable that this thing was only 15 years ago. In 2012, we have the Oculus Rift, the first kind of consumer-ready VR headset by Oculus that later was acquired by Microsoft. Very, very cool. And again, look how it was literally 8 years ago. So how new this technology is. We had the Google Glass, which was the failed attempt for like kind of AR enterprise by Google. Here we have a monoscopic display, so you only use one eye, which didn't kind of pan out really well. Google Cardboard, an amazing, cheap kind of revolutionary invention that basically allows you to kind of experience AR, VR in a really kind of cheap way through your mobile device. 2 years after, in 2016, we have yours truly trying the HTC Vive for the first time. an unbelievable experience that is really kind of game changing. But still, we have this experience that you're super tethered with a cord to a computer. A year after, mobile AR is a thing. Now, everyone's phones, and later when we do kind of the technical part of the workshop, you're going to see how you can build an app yourself. But everyone's phones right now already have AR capabilities and smart camera built into them, which is amazing. The Oculus Quest was released last year, and this year we got the Oculus Quest 2, which is even better. But this is the first kind of consumer-ready, tetherless, wireless headset that has hand tracking. Really an amazing feat of technology. And if you think about it, again, look how small amount of time has passed on the first Oculus. In 2020, we have the Unreal also kind of coming into the market, a really kind of cool AR headset that, if you look at it, actually looks like pretty good, like real glasses. This is me at CES back in Las Vegas in the January. This is a really cool kind of way that we've, again, got to the point that AR glasses look like glasses. The Microsoft HoloLens is definitely the Cadillac of augmented reality, a really kind of cool wireless, tetherless headset that basically is totally self-contained and allows you to see augmented reality. And this headset is really close to my heart, and the pun intended is because I actually used this headset while I was studying at Columbia University. We took CT and MRI, converted them into 3D, and then basically put them on these smart glasses on the HoloLens for the physician to wear, and they would get this 3D reference map of the patient's anatomy. It was an amazing experience, an amazing use case of augmented reality, basically providing the physician with a way to see inside the patient in real time. I would scrub into surgery. It was a really, really cool use case of augmented reality. But the problem was I had to wake up really, really early in the morning to basically do that process. I had to go to the hospital, take those 3D scans, convert them to 3D models, and that took so much time and so much effort. And as a developer, I only wanted to do two things. I wanted to manage 3D assets, and I wanted to deliver them to an AR device. And when talking to other developers building augmented reality applications for retail and shopping and internet navigation, they all said the same thing. There is no easy way to manage 3D data. But if you think about it, this problem was already solved for 2D. If you want to build a website, you can use Heroku as your cloud platform. If you want to build a mobile app, you can use Parse or Firebase as your backend of the service. So we went from mobile to web to from web to mobile to now this new technology, which is AR, VR, 3D, immersive, called whatever. And the question has to be asked, who's going to build that cloud platform? And you obviously guessed it. That's what we do at EchoAR. We are that cloud platform for 3D applications, providing tools and network infrastructure for developers to build AR apps at scale. So today we're going to see how you can build an application, how you're going to scale it, how you can really create something really cool in a matter of minutes if you're for a hackathon or just prototyping. Note that we provided affiliated links to all the event organizers, so you should have a link that you could use to basically get free access to our premium tier. So definitely take advantage of that part. So think about it. The same way you don't have to be a web developer to update a blog post, you can drag and drop an image or video, suddenly they appear in web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and we're watching a kind of episode on Netflix, we automatically get that best streaming experience. So we translated these concepts to augmented reality, basically providing users with a way to manage and deliver 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this bi-directional connection content and data. You as a user, you can't move an image or a video on a website, but you can definitely move a 3D couch across the room. That needs to be out there in the cloud, and we're going to see that in the demo. So easy to see what we've built, all these tools that allow you to manage 3D content and deliver it to devices. As I mentioned again, use that affiliated link to register, so you'll be able to do what I'm doing right now. After you register, you get an API key. It's basically a project key that allows you to access the platform. And now we're going to see how that thing works. So after you register through the link or on our website, you're going to get an API key. This is mine right here. You can see the console on the right, on the left, and you can see the phone on the right. So I'm going to start with something super, super simple. I'm going to upload some data to the cloud. So I'm going to add some content. We have all these 3D models that you can use for free. And you can also use the search engine to search any 3D model that you want. Again, all for free. You can also kind of upload your own images, videos, or 3D models, and we'll kind of make sure that they work in augmented virtual reality. I'm going to start with something simple. As I mentioned, we're a New York-based company. So I'm going to kind of share this. I'm going to upload this 3D model of the Empire State. uploading to our cloud. What happens right now is that we take that 3D model that is kind of works for 3D printing, and we're going to convert and compress it to works on Android, iOS, Magically Polens, you name it. Once it's done, you can see it here. Please ask your event organizers for the links. I don't have it right here. So there you go. We have the kind of 3D model done for state right here. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open a sample app right here. This app is available to download if you want in our downloads menu. This app is super small. It's just a camera. I'm going to plug in my API key right here. So that's the project key I got after registering. It will stream the data from the cloud to the device. The camera will instantiate. Now you can see my apartment camera will recognize the floor. And then you'll be able to kind of see the 3D model right here. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat. So now we can see the 3D model right here. I can walk around it, walk inside. So I don't have the link that you're referring to, but please ask your event organizers and you're gonna get the link that you need. So there you go, we see the 3D model. We can walk around it, walk inside, super, super simple. But what happens if I wanna change it to something else? Let's say instead of that first state, I wanna see a different building. So instead of rebuilding the application or doing anything technical, I'm gonna delete the previous entry. I'm gonna upload some other content, and that will automatically happen. So let's see that again. I'm gonna upload some content, say this building, upload to our cloud. Same process occurs as earlier. Once that is done, I can open again the sample app that we have right here that you can download right here for Android or iOS. Plug in the API key. It will download the data from the cloud to the device. And then you'll be able to see the camera recognizing the floor, and there you go. Suddenly we have a different building, and I can walk around it. Super, super simple. We have a few questions. Is it possible to show it from the camera rather than the back camera? Yes. Later, I'm going to show some examples of how you can do like selfie apps and stuff like that. Super simple. Great question, Kieran. How do you get the API key? You should either register on our website or use the affiliated link that we provided the event organizers or the hackathon organizers or the club members to use it. So just reach out to your event organizers. Okay, so we have this 3D model right here, and we saw how we can see it through mobile. So let's do a mobile app. But for example, we work with a company that in the art space that wanted people randomly walk into an art gallery, open a browser. They didn't want them to install anything, and then CAR. Is that possible? Yes, it is. So what you can do is actually click this button right here to expose a QR code. You can scan the QR code, and all of you can scan the QR code right now if you want with your phone. Just open your camera, put it in front of the kind of QR code. Most cameras have like their own built-in kind of QR code scanner. It will redirect you to a website. You don't have to install anything, and you'll automatically be able to see this building in your apartments right now. So I really kind of encourage you, if you want, just scan this QR code. I'm going to scan it. I'm going to kind of leave it right here. This is again an example of web-based AR. So you don't have to install an app. Just need to do that through the website. So there you go. So we have this kind of building right here. I'm going to click CNAR. The camera will instantiate, and I'll be able to see. And again, you can just use your phone. Basically, just use your own phone. Camera will instantiate, and voila! Suddenly, you can see the building right here. Super, super simple. I can put it on a table, put it next to me. Super, super easy. So I definitely recommend that you kind of scan this as well. It's really, really cool, and you'll be able to see the kind of building in augmented reality really, really easily. So we saw mobile, we saw web. Another thing that I want you to show is Unity, and later we're going to dive into Unity a little more, but it's a game engine a lot of developers love to use. We have here our Unity SDK, we have an SDK for Java, Swift, Flutter. We're going to look at these things in a sec, but up until now we saw mobile, we saw web, and now we just want to show you Unity. So we're going to open the kind of camera, again, recognize the floor, no surprises there. You're going to see that building right here. What happens if I want to change something? Let's say I want to animate it, or I want to kind of add things in real time. So I can click this button right here, and then I can add some metadata. For example, let's say direction equals right. So let's do that. Bam, suddenly it starts to rotate in real time. Let's say if I think it's super small, so I can do scale equals 2. So these are like obviously like super small examples, but they are here to show that you can change things in real time. You can utilize the cloud to kind of basically change things in your application in real time. And it's a really, really powerful thing. But like all the users that are using your application are able to kind of send update, receive update, synchronize devices together. Perfect. So we saw mobile, we saw web, but now we saw Unity. All of them you're posting once, and then you're able to kind of see the 3D model in all of these platforms. But everything we saw so far is based on one kind of type of technology of augmented reality, which is surface detection. The camera will recognize the floor and then overlay that floor with a 3D model. I want to show you another example of image recognition, basically the camera recognizing an image and overlaying the data on top of that. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to click this button again. Instead of doing see on the floor, I'm going to do see on an image. I'm going to scan this QR code. And again, you can use your phones right now to scan it with me. It will redirect you to a website. You don't have to install anything. Just keep your phone oriented towards the QR code, even after it's scanned. And voila, suddenly you can see the building kind of pops out of the screen, as opposed to what we had earlier, that the 3D model was on the floor. Now we have the 3D model kind of popping out of the screen. So check that out. Keep your phone oriented toward the QR code even after you scan it. And then you'll see this building kind of pop out of the screen. Super, super simple. Now this image could be whatever you want. Right now it's a QR code, but you can actually use your business card, and then you kind of scan it and you see people, I don't know, you show a video of yourself talking about yourself. Or we had another project in a different hackathon that built this kind of COVID tracker. People would scan QR codes, would see videos on COVID-19, but on the back end, they will actually kind of accumulate how many people scan the QR codes, and it's for social distancing, which I thought was like a winning idea for a project. So let me show you how you can upload other types of content. So I mentioned video, so maybe I'll do that as well. So let's throw that in. So I'm going to throw in just an MP4 file. There you go. And here I'm going to, instead of doing anywhere, I'm going to do on an image. So I'm going to choose a specific kind of image target as opposed to what we had earlier. Same process occurs, but now instead of converting the 3D model, we're converting the video and images to make sure they work on augmented reality in all these different kind of platforms that we saw earlier. So let's give it a sec to upload. Once that is done, we're going to have, again, a QR code to kind of redirect us to the experience. We can try that here. Let me do that. So scan this QR code if you want to see the video in 3D. Again, redirects to a website. You don't have to install anything. And then once that is done, I'm able to kind of overlay the video on the, there you go. So I'm going to go to this marker, and voila, suddenly the video is like on top of that. I can scale it with my fingers. I can play it. Super, super simple. And again, the point here is that you can actually kind of overlay images with 3D model, with videos. Super, super simple. And again, everything you saw is web. You don't have to kind of install anything, and you can embed that into any website, any app. Can we use a 3D model made in Blender? Yes, so you can create a 3D model in Blender and then upload it here. If it's in GLTF file format, an OBJ or FBX, you can do all that. Another thing that I want to show you is you can upload things in location. So if I upload this 3D model to like a specific location, let's say New York, that means that you can build an app that if you open it in New York, you're seeing the Empire State Building, but if you open it in San Francisco, you're going to see the Golden Gate Bridge. So super kind of simple examples to show that you can build like a Pokemon Go experience or like kind of specific kind of location-based experiences. Drain asking, can we export the QR code? Yes, 100%. So you can literally kind of, this is an image that you can use, you can get an API query. We're going to see how you do that, or you can just save this image and then place it on a website and you're good to go. Okay, so far, let's recap. So we saw how you can upload 3D models, videos, locations, images, videos. We have the kind of downloads here, and we're going to see in a sec how we do things technical, but let's see how we can do like other stuff in the console. So you can obviously switch a theme, but the most important resources are actually here. So our documentation is literally a step-by-step guide of everything I just did. So how to upload, how to share. So definitely kind of take a look at our documentation. I'm going to share it right here. There you go. This is one like really important resource that you can kind of see everything that we just did. Here we have our GitHub page. It has so many open source examples of augmented reality that you can kind of just grab. They're all open open source. They're really, really cool. Definitely kind of if you are in a hackathon and you're trying to build something, I would really suggest starting with one of these examples, because it's already kind of giving you like at least 50% of the work in 3D, and basically get just like it's almost like a pre-made kind of project. I'm going to open a few. I'm going to share some. So here we have like the really cool AR example for like the US election. They can like stream videos and 3D models and like do this kind of election survey in AR. We have here a living room inside a living room, which is a video in 3D kind of binge watching a movie. People ask at the beginning if we can use the front-facing camera. So yes, here we have like this face filter app that you can do. A COVID visualizer in 3D. We're going to later do it together. Here we have like a remote work example that is really cool. Definitely check it out. Here's something with images. So like you can create this freaky museum that like basically overlay videos on top of images to make images come to life. Can we create some 3D models by ourselves? Yeah, so you can use, look in our documentation on how to add models. We have like different kind of resources where you can find models, where you can create models, and how you can upload them to EchoAR. Let me share this resource as well with you here. So you saw documentation, you saw GitHub, our Slack channel. Make sure you register and ask if you have any questions to ask our support team. I'm also going to stick around there to answer any questions later. So definitely kind of make sure to, if you have any questions, to use that resource. Or you can always email us, send us a tweet, super simple. Okay, so we know how to add content. We can also share it, by the way. Like I can kind of send you this link, and then that will be like a short link for the 3D model. That's another really cool thing that you can kind of embed as an iframe inside an existing app or application, and then that will automatically allow you to kind of redirect to EchoAR's AR kind of platform. So definitely check that out as well. So, okay, so we saw how you can add and manage content. Let's see how you can add and manage data. So here we're able to kind of add some data like we saw earlier, like metadata for specific 3D models, but also like global data. For example, we supported a company that did this scavenger hunt in AR, like a murder mystery game. You would run around, you had 3D models that are basically associated with different scenes, but you also have like a global database with like any data that you want kind of through that in that is for the entire game. Here we have the kind of subscription page. You will see how much bandwidth you're using, how much storage you're using, how much API calls you're making. If you use the affiliated link that we shared, you're going to get this tier 4 free. So definitely check that out. Location page is really cool. Shows you the distribution of content. Remember, we added that Fox in New York, so you can see it here in New York. We have all the servers that are supporting your application. In the security page, you can add your team members. So if you're in a hackathon or just working as a team, you can add people to your project. In the insights page, you're able to see kind of information about your applications. For example, we just streamed apartment living, so you can see this spike in usage. You can see with your more streamable 3D model, you can see information about your project. You can see the distribution of users. Tutorials is a really cool page. Again, shares a link to our GitHub and our documentation, which is, again, is step-by-step guides of everything I just did. So if something wasn't clear, you want to repeat it, just go to our documentation and go through it. There's also kind of, again, all these like projects that you can literally copy paste. They're all open source, and some kind of more information about EchoAR. And my favorite page is the inspiration page. It has so many really cool examples of AR, VR that you can build with augmented and virtual reality with EchoAR, like the art installation that I mentioned, or the murder mystery game, or a project that we did for Verizon 5G. There's so many amazing projects here for healthcare and military and advertising and shopping and education and COVID-19. As I mentioned, we did a few hackathons recently that people created really cool things in COVID-19. Really cool stuff around image detection, surface recognition. So definitely check out all these cool kind of examples to get inspired. There's really cool projects here and so many different use cases. So definitely kind of look them up. And if you submit a project to EchoAR, we will feature you on this page as well. So kind of make sure to kind of build something cool and share it with us. If you're in a hackathon, we're also probably kind of sponsoring one of the sponsored challenges. So if you win that, we'll obviously also kind of feature you as well. Perfect. So we saw how you can use the console. Everything we did so far was really kind of non-technical, right? We kind of threw in 3D models. Automatically, we were able to see them in AR through kind of the sample apps, through web, or through Unity. Now we're going to transition into a more technical part of the workshop, so kind of stick with me. We're going to build an app in Unity. So we're going to use our Unity SDK right here, so you can just click that, it will download a file that you can import into Unity. But then once that is done, you're opening Unity. This is Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use to build applications. And we're going to add our SDK. When you do that, you can see there's an empty scene right here. You're going to get the EchoAR folder. Danny's asking how to connect phone in this. So I'm not sure what do you mean, like how to connect phones. So if you have a phone, you can just scan these QR codes and you're good to go. If you want to build an app, we're now using Unity, and that's the platform that allows you to build an app to your phone. So that's basically that thing. Yeah, you can create any game you want. Now we're going to see how to build a COVID visualizer, for example. Okay, so you're going to add our SDK. You're going to see the example code right here. You're going to see this sample scene that is this scene, super empty. There's nothing here. It's just the EchoAR game object. I'm going to plug in my API key right here. Press play. Out of thin air, models will stream from the cloud to the game engine. And voila, suddenly we see the same 3D model we had earlier. We see the building rotating. We see the video. Maybe I'll delete the video playing in my ear. So let's do that. We're seeing the video, we're seeing the building. So you saw I deleted the video, it automatically deleted from the game engine. Let's move the Fox a little bit because it's kind of hidden. There we go. So we have the building, we have the Fox, all in 3D, all in the game engine. If I stop the app from playing, everything disappears. So basically what we have here is basically all the data is on the cloud, and only when we open the application, data streams from the cloud to the game object. This means that you're going to have a really, really small app that people will be happy to download, and content will stream from the cloud. Can we integrate with web application? Yes. So check out our documentation here specifically in our API section, and how you can do everything that I just did just with API queries. And also, like, a really easy thing is there's also just like integrating kind of the QR codes that I shared in your website, or like an iframe that adds this kind of link. Check out these. I'm going to share some more links, but here we have like embed into website. That's another thing that you can do. Okay, so we have the 3D models reappearing. Check out how they're like reappeared in the same state. So the building is still rotating. The kind of Fox is 10 feet away from the building. Again, I'm going to do that again. This basically means that our kind of platform is a stateful platform. It's a stateful CMS that remembers the state of the files. So the Fox will always kind of remember to be 10 feet away and stuff like that. So now we're going to go to adding some features. So let's say I want to change something in the application. Let's say I want to have a way to name the Fox. So I'm going to delete the building, and I'm going to move the Fox back to the center. You see all these updates happen in real time. So now we have Arctic Fox right here. And I want to change something. I want to add the functionality. Let's see if we have any questions. Is there any step-by-step guide? Yes. Please look to our documentation, as I mentioned. Can we interact with the 3D model using the camera? Yes, definitely. So in Unity, you can basically, you're limited only by your imagination. You can do interactions, you can do things like we did the rotation. You can make the camera be the one to instantiate the kind of interaction. Definitely. Can it be used as projector? Not sure what that means. Sorry about that, Benny. Projector, you mean like device projector? If you can project things? I'm not really sure. So let's add some kind of some data. So what we have here is we have this 3D model called Arctic Fox, and what's cool about EchoAR is that every 3D model, every video has this custom behavior script attached to it that basically allows you to add features to it. This is a C# script in Unity format. If you know C# perfect, if you know Java or other object-oriented language, that's fine. So let's go through that together. So what we have here is the start function evident by its name. It happens when you start the application. The snippet of code will run every time you start the application. And we also have the update function that is really kind of interesting. This function is basically being called every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D now. That means there's like scene being rendered, there's like almost like a video running on your phone, and every single frame you can run this function. This means this function needs to be really well optimized. Remember your CS fundamentals. If this function hangs or gets stuck, everything kind of hangs or gets stuck. But let's start small. Let's look at the start function. Look at what we have here. We have this small snippet of code that basically says, I'm going to ask, do I have any additional data? If I have additional data, do I have an additional data called name? And if that's the case, let's set the name of the object to that name. So let's see how that works. So if I add a name here, for example, let's do name equals Kevin. That's a good name for a fox. And then I'm going to press play. Data will stream from the cloud to the device and the start of the application. And there we go. Now the name of the fox is Kevin. Super simple example, but it's to show how you can like stream data from the cloud to the device. Now let's say I want to change this name from Kevin to Stan. Nothing changes. Why is that? Because that kind of code only happens at the start function, so only when you start the application. This means that if I restart the application, data will stream again. Now we're going to do that check of the name, and there we go. Now the fox's name is Stan. But what happened is I want to change this, and I want to kind of make this change happen in real time. So you guessed it, I'm going to move this snippet of code from the start function to the update function. Going to save this script. So now every single frame we're going to ask, do I have initial data? If I do I have a name? And if I have a name, let's set that name to be the name of the game object. So let's see how that works. So I'm restarting the app now with the new script that we changed. We can see the data being streamed. We see Sam the fox. But now if I change it to something else, let's do Kevin. Bam, suddenly the name changed automatically. This is obviously a really simple example, but it's to show that you can use data from the cloud to do whatever you want, to enable, disable features, enable or disable if flows remotely, and basically add any feature that you want and control that remotely. So now this was a simple example. Let's do another one that is a little more complicated. Let's recreate that COVID visualizer that we saw from our GitHub page. So now I'm going to upload my own 3D model. I'm going to throw in this 3D model, and I'm also going to attach to it this CSV Excel file that basically gives you like all these different keys and values kind of built in. So our system will parse them so I don't have to manually put them in. So let's add that. Uploading to our cloud. What happens right now is, again, the same process that we're used to what we had earlier. We're taking that 3D model, we're converting it, we're making sure it works on all these different platforms. I'm also going to go ahead and swap the custom behavior script under the hood. So basically adding new functionality through the custom behavior script. And now we're going to review that script together. So let's look at the script now. This is our new script. So what do we have here? So we have some array of continents. We have a dictionary. We have some data structure. We have the start function that looks pretty much the same. There we go. We see the Earth right here already ready to stream. And we see kind of all these metadata is already kind of attached to it. Now the update function is much more interesting. Let's look at it together. So here we're saying, do I have any additional data? If I do I have a scale? Or set into a number? Then we're iterating over all continents. We're asking, do I have a key associated with that continent? If so, parse the number as a value for the number of COVID cases in that continent. Then if we have a graph, set the graph size to that kind of, to the number of cases. If not, let's create a graph. Give it a color, give it a name, give it a location, give it a scale, add text to it. And if we don't have any data, just delete the graph. So let's see how that works when you press play. So I'm going to press play. Data will stream from the console to the cloud, to the game engine, and voila. We're seeing Earth. We're seeing this cool graph that shows number of cases. If I change something, for example, I'm going to change Antarctica from 1 to 8. Bam, suddenly that jumps. If I just say delete Antarctica completely, it disappears. This is another really cool example. So you should definitely kind of play around with it. Again, it's open source on our GitHub page. You can kind of create things, play around with them. Super, super simple to build applications. Again, once I kind of stop the application, everything kind of disappears. Perfect. So let's recap what we had so far. So we saw how developers can use any of our SDKs to build applications for Android, iOS, Magic Leap, Unity, you name it. We saw how counter creators, everything we did in the beginning was really no code. You can just drag and drop 3D models automatically. You get these QR codes to see them automatically or use the sample app. We saw how we build, store, and deliver the kind of 3D models to any device. We saw our developers save time and money. We saw how content creators need no technical skills in the beginning, and companies can send data all over the world. We talked about AR/VR use cases. We talked about AR/VR history. We talked about surgery and shopping and tourism and ads. We saw the inspiration page that is filled with amazing examples of AR and VR applications. Definitely check it out. I'm so excited to see what you're all going to build. Again, you're limited only by your imagination with the thing that you can build in augmented and virtual reality. A lot of people think that, these kind of things are AR/VR will create this hyper reality, which I actually like. But let's talk about some specific use cases that we have today that are really prevalent. So we talked about gaming like Pokemon Go, and we talked about VR gaming like Beat Saber, but things like shopping obviously exist. You can use image targets right here with Lego to see what you're going to build before you kind of visualize it, before you actually construct it. Things for art, which are really cool. VR art, which is an amazing use case, and someone can actually kind of recreate art in a 3D space. This is an example of the New Yorker kind of bringing their magazine to life using augmented reality. Really cool use case. We have construction, having a floor plan coming to life and showing you how the building would look like with an image target. Another cool use case that you can build. Zoology and education are really cool, that you can see the inside of frog or inside a person in 3D. These are really kind of cool use cases that you can use with EchoAR. Tourism is a big one. We saw all these location-based experiences that you can build. This is another really cool example that basically uses projection. So like the glasses are not actually AR glasses. The camera, there's like trackers on them. A camera will recognize those head movements and actually project a different kind of space on the wall. So it's kind of a really cool way for you to kind of fake VR as well. We saw ads and how you can kind of localize data based on location, like if it's from the Philippines or the US, and get different videos. VR filmmaking is another big thing that emerged recently. We see things like Lion King and The Mandalorian using game engines and VR to kind of visualize the movie before they actually do all these special effects. Remote assistance is a big one, having a novice kind of being trained by a professional remotely. Remote work is really cool. This is a company here in New York called Spatial that does kind of 3D holograms for meetings. Training is a big one. Here's an example of hand tracking that I want you to see, which is really compelling. Marketing is obviously a big one. Flying is actually a comical example, but look how we can kind of bring in people with like specific new hardware and kind of immerse them completely in this amazing example, even though it's really funny. Skiing, you can gamify skiing with augmented reality with this head-worn display. You can improve exercising, which kind of immersing people in a different environment outside of their home. Definitely now when quarantine is such a big problem. Navigation in AR is something that you all have on Google Maps. Use it. It's really compelling that you can basically walk around and see where you can, where you find yourself through kind of virtual arrows. Social AR is a big thing. I'm sure a lot of you using Snapchat or TikTok. Social VR is really cool that you can meet people, play around with them, like this poker example. Portal is another really cool kind of immersive way for AR to kind of teleport you into a different place. We have an example like that on our GitHub page, so definitely check that out. Measurement is really cool. Now we're kind of starting to see how AR is being used for utility while VR is used for immersion. Another example is surgery that we talked about in augmented reality, but here's another example in virtual reality that is really kind of compelling. They can train people to do surgery. Translation is something that you all have in your phone, so something that remained from Google Glass, that basically you can put your phone in front of a sign and it will automatically translate that into the right language and the right font. Definitely check that out on Google Translate. It's really, really cool. Home design, we talked about that already, and examples like IKEA. Multiplayer, that you can synchronize devices through the cloud. Visualizing a menu, it's obviously like a really cool use case. Definitely kind of play around with it as well. These are a few examples of human-computer interaction that you can like play around. This is a device called North Star, which is really, really compelling. And again, these things look super futuristic, but they already exist. And they already exist because our kind of pop culture is fully immersed and like fully saturated with all these concepts. These are things that we see in every movie, specifically the Marvel movies, of something that we want to use to kind of empower ourselves. Movies like Minority Report for hand gestures, or Iron Man for heads-up display, are something that we all kind of aspire to have to kind of empower ourselves through augmented virtual reality. Every game that we play has some kind of form of augmented reality. If it's Halo in Horizon Zero Dawn, kind of getting more information about the creatures he's hunting, or in Detroit Being Human, we're solving mysteries using augmented reality, or Batman, the world's greatest detective, solving crimes with augmented reality. These are the things that we can empower ourselves. These are another really cool example of games that you can play today in augmented reality, like Pokemon Go or Ingress or Wizards Unite. Definitely check them out in the App Store as well to kind of get more AR, VR into your life. A lot of us as a company, we won a bunch of awards. We are backed some of the most amazing investors in the country, like Imagine and Techstars and Verizon, and we're featured in all these different events. So if you're coming to some event, definitely kind of say hello to our team once events go back to normal. We love to say that we inspire people to build applications at scale across all devices. So start building things. I'm super excited to see where you're going to build through the event, competing for the sponsor challenge, and also kind of to feature you in the inspiration page. Make sure you register through our website or use the affiliated link that was shared in the chat. Thank you so much. I hope this kind of talk blew your mind, show you some really cool kind of use cases. Thank you so much for being here. Stay safe, healthy, and sane, and start building amazing, amazing things. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good one. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to write them here or in our Slack. And Loyola Virtual Reality Clubs, you can also stay a little bit, and we can answer more questions specifically. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good one.